So it's time to plate up. This is always the most exciting and fun part for me. Beautiful miso glazed salmon. Just look at the color. A really beautiful dish just for you. Let's start cooking. So we have our salmon that we rinsed and cleaned under the water, and now we've dried it with paper towel. There's nothing like trying to sear something that's wet. You're not going to get very good results. You'll be braising it, not searing it. Okay, so here we have our salmon fillet. Now it's already been boned. I can see and I can feel that the bones have been taken out, and you can also see the marks or the ridge. See that ridge? That's where the bones have basically been pulled out from. So now if you got a whole salmon, a whole fillet from a whole fish, towards the end you'll find a bone or two stuck in there. So you'll need to take that out as well. Okay. And now we're just going to cut these into, I'd say 5 to 6 ounce portions. So when cutting the salmon, the key is just to have a sharp knife. Or when cutting anything, especially fish, you don't want to be sawing because it's very delicate. You break the fish, you pull the meat apart, and it's not what you want. And a lot of people may think you need a very expensive knife. Yes, it's nice to have that if you can afford it, but if you can't, what matters is how you use a knife, how you take care of the knife, and how sharp your knife is. So without any further ado, I'm going to show you just how to make one clean cut. So start from the heel of the knife to the end of the knife. This is probably half the width of the knife, so it should be no problem to slice it, right? So you're looking at, as you see, the fish tapers down the end. So if you cut it there, then good judgment, right? So we're going to go here, and then we could have another portion there. So start on the top, hold the fish together, and slowly drag the knife across, pressing down and right across and right through. And you have a beautiful clean cut. No jagged edges. Right? Beautiful clean cuts. Now, this was the end of the fish, not the cut side. Now that our salmon is prepared, ready for marination, let's start with the marinade. Let's get that to the side. I have a good tablespoon of white miso paste for this recipe, as we are doing miso salmon. I also have about 2 tablespoons of mirin, and about half a teaspoon of sesame oil. For garnish, I've chopped up some green onion or scallions. It's very straightforward, and I have black and white sesame seeds. So let's kind of mix everything in here. I got this container so that you can see. And maybe let's start with half of the mirin and some of the miso paste. Basically, you just want to kind of mix it. Let's put all of it in. Kind of being stubborn. Now the mirin is quite sweet, and the miso paste, as you know, is salty. So you get a very nice balance of flavors just with those two ingredients. So I'm going to thin it down. Probably another tablespoon of mirin. That's about a tablespoon. And I'm using the Miscan brand, and I should just let you know that I'm not sponsored by the brand. It's just something that I use and find it very useful. As it says here, great in teriyaki, sukiyaki, meat and seafood marinades. So okay, let's add the rest of this. We add in the balance of that, and that will be perfect. The rest of the sesame oil. You know, I've been taught from a very young age, even before I thought of going to cooking school or doing it to earn a living professionally, I'd say, by my grandmother. She always said, don't waste when you cook. Always make sure that you use the ingredients properly and respect the ingredients. And also to clean your mess as you work. Those are two things I always remember from my late grandmother, God bless her. So I just added about a 3/4 spoon of water just to loosen that marinade a little. And just keep mixing until it's nicely incorporated. But it should be nice and smooth. Okay, so let's get this marinade on here. So coat the bottom. Okay, and we're gonna place the fish in just like that. Okay, do we have enough room? We'll make room. Wow, that's perfect. So we'll leave the fish to marinate. I'm just going to put a very little on the top. And remember, we still have a little bit here in case we need to add some in to finish off the fish. Now, I'm not going to double dip in there. I am just going to apply a little bit on the top as I have. And if you don't need to use this, you can keep it in the fridge for a few days and use it on another piece of fish or a sauce or something. It never goes to waste, right? So minimum marination time, 1 hour. So now it's time to, this is the most exciting part, and sometimes the most scary part. Okay, so remember this marinade had mirin in, which has a sugar content. So you got to be careful that you don't burn this. So I recommend getting your pan hot, not scorching hot, but hot enough to have a sear, and then bringing down the temperature slightly. That way, when you put your fish in, you can control the heat, especially with this type of fish or marinade. Hold it like that just for a little while, because the skin tightens and pulls back. Okay, let's go in with another one. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in there, and I'm going to place that oil in there. And you'll see how the salmon kind of comes back together. Just keep your hand flat on it for a little while. Okay. And then you'll put about 3 pieces in the pan. I'll put a little oil in here. I'm using sesame oil. Again, put your fingers on it. See how that salmon was shrinking? Some firm pressure on it. Alright. So you have decent heat. And you have a little oil. You know, sometimes putting in too much oil is going to cause a lot of splashing. And splashing causes a lot of mix. So you're going to let that go for about 2 or 3 minutes. And you can see that as it cooks, the heat from the bottom cooks the salmon from the bottom going up to the top. So my pan is on low, and I'm going to just increase the heat a little bit, and that's just going to get things moving along faster. Now I can control the heat, and I can stop the fish from actually burning or sticking if the pan is way too hot. So this way, it starts with a slow sear, and you can increase the heat, and then it begins to crisp or caramelize underneath. So at this point, I'm going to flip it over. You can see that beautiful light char on there. It's not burnt, it's caramelized. Now, if you get a thick bit of black underneath, that means it's really scorched and it's probably burnt. That's looking beautiful. You can see that bit of salmon that's been cooked from the bottom going up, and as I turn the fish over, it's doing the same thing from the bottom going up. Now I'm going to turn these over to the sides, and I'm going to cook them very briefly that way. You see the color on there? You see that caramelization? That's a beautiful thing. Briefly get both sides done. And I'm going to do the other side. So it's not even a minute, right? Or just about. We'll just put them on this tray very gently. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, so be careful when you take them out. It's a beautiful color. Take that out. And I'm going to cook the rest of the fish, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to finish it off in the glaze. So I've turned off the heat, and we're going to finish the fish in the glaze. And this is the reason why we turn off the heat. Otherwise, everything is going to burn before you even get to the fish. So let us place the fish in there. Now I'll turn the heat on to medium. Yeah, that glaze is coming along just fine. Let me turn the stove off. And then we're going to come back and plate. So it's time to plate up. This is always the most exciting and fun part for me. So I found this plate. It was probably the only plate they had. It's a place where they get random stuff from time to time. And I just thought it's a beautiful plate to use. So let's go ahead and use it for this presentation. Start plating the salmon. So we got one there. I've got 5 pieces here. So let's see just how. Okay, so let's put the other piece on right there. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of the other bit of miso we had on there. Okay. I'm going to use something I find really amazing with a lot of these Asian dishes is crispy fried garlic chips. You know, like this guy looked like he just came out of the water right to the table. Okay, a little bit of green onion and I have some black and white sesame seeds here, so just take the cap off and we'll sprinkle some on. And there you have it, folks. Beautiful miso glazed salmon. Just look at the color. A really beautiful dish just for you. One more look. Wow. So that's the salmon dish. And what would you serve this with? Well, you can serve it with steamed rice, or you can serve it with another recipe. Down over there. Crisp on the outside. Lovely sushi vinegared rice with furikake rice seasoning. Miso glazed salmon. And perhaps a side vegetable, bok choy, or wilted spinach, sesame spinach, gailan. What a fantastic meal. If you find this video brings benefit to you, please consider subscribing. Have a good day. Bye-bye.